Welcome to Beyond the Main podcast. We're here at JSerra. We are more than just a school. We are more than teachers, coaches, and administrators. We are a community striving together to grow in faith, intellect, and character. Each episode, we will talk to a member of the JSerra community and get a deeper look of who they are as individuals and their expertise in their field. Thanks for joining us, and if you can, please like and subscribe. All right, everybody. Welcome to Beyond the Main, episode 4. I am here and joined with Rich Jr., Rich Meyer, folks. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Russ. I was very fortuitous that you called me when I was in my dad's office a couple days ago.
Yeah, I was just like, I saw you in there, and I was like, okay, wait, we got to have him
Yeah,
on.
no, and I leave tomorrow, so back home. So
What's the visit for?
The visit is for work, actually. Gotta finagle, work excuses to come and visit my family as much as I can. So I'm working on it. But I just graduated from Notre Dame in May, and I started working at this travel agency.
Oh, nice.
Based out of Ann Arbor, Michigan, which is like 30 minutes from Detroit.
Okay.
It's family owned, so not like a massive, very standardized company, but small, 60-ish employees. And we do a lot of different things, pilgrimages, kind of domestic and international, but then also educational tours.
Nice.
Thinking like 8th grade DC trips, or like a missions tour up and down California, something like that. Okay. Performance tours, cruises, special events, things like that. So we do a lot, and our main presence is out of Michigan, and we don't have a lot of presence outside of that, particularly in California. So I was like, okay, yeah, this is kind of, I'm in a sales role, right? So a lot of it is just your own initiative.
Out there
So I was like, well, this is perfect because my family, I want to visit them as much as possible.
Well, probably some good connections out here too, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, okay, yeah, my dad, and even just, very familiar with diocese, right? A lot of the priests and the parishes. So there's opportunity there, opportunity in middle schools, opportunity for, high schools, Trinity League, choirs, band, things like that. So there's a lot that, maybe I can leverage that into coming back here a little bit more often.
I love it. Okay, but love is in the air. We've got a lot of catching up to do.
Oh, yeah, very much.
So
very
I don't know
much.
if I'm sure it's public. Like
Yeah.
So our alum here, Rich, just got engaged.
Yep. As of like 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Little less.
A little fresh.
Yeah.
Let's hear it, man. How did it go? Like, give me, because I can share my experience too, but, I'm thinking you asked for the blessing. Did you talk to your dad? Did you get some advice?
Yeah. So I won't let this go too long because it could probably go pretty long. This girl and I, we knew each other in Chicago when we lived there. Family friends, but then we moved to California, and then the last couple of years kind of rekindled a little bit, like got back in contact with their family as friends, and then this past January, so I don't know, 8 months ago, we started dating, and then I proposed over Labor Day weekend, and so end of July was when I went and started looking at the ring.
Yeah.
Started getting it.
Crazy.
Yeah. Wild. She was in Europe with her family. She's Polish.
Okay.
So they were visiting family in Poland. Her older brother just got married in May. So there was like a wedding celebration there for family that couldn't come. And then the week before I proposed, I drove to Chicago, took the day off work, drove 4 hours from Ann Arbor, Michigan to Chicago, asked her dad. He said yes. Oh. He said, "Wow, Rich, you're so great. We'd love to have you. It's just amazing." And so I hung out at their house for a couple more hours, and we had dinner, and then I drove back up. It was kind of tough because I had to make an excuse for why I couldn't hang out with Cecilia, right, my fiance. And it was also tough because that was her first day of school. She just started her grad program at University of Michigan in choral conducting. So, and it's a pretty intense program. So she was like, "Oh wow, I'm like nervous, and I really want to de-stress and hang out with you after the first day of classes and things like that." And we were getting drinks the night before, and as she was about to convey all the plans that she had for tomorrow night, I said, "Wait, Cecilia, I have to stop you because I can't hang out tomorrow night, or at least right after school, because I have like this work dinner that I have to go to."
Right.
And that was the excuse I had because I wasn't going to be able to get back until like 10. So next day, I drove back, it all went well. And then that weekend, we went to South Haven, Michigan, which is a kind of idyllic, Santa Barbara-esque, a lot smaller than Santa Barbara, but retirement,
Sure.
very vacation spot on Lake Michigan. And the plan was for that weekend, so our family has a house there. Mm-hmm. The plan was for that weekend, just Cecilia and I to go with her older sister and husband and their 3 kids, and hang out with them for the weekend. And then the rest of her family would come up on Monday, Labor Day, to hang out and we'd have fun or whatever. And this would be time for us to spend quality time with Virginia and Tom, her older sister and husband and stuff. So that was a plan, but things changed because I wanted to surprise her, right, with the ask and things like that. So the plan was Sunday night I would propose, and while I was doing the ask, her family would come up, and while we were out of the house, they would come in and decorate it, and our favorite color is pink, so everybody was wearing pink, and streamers and a cake and champagne and all these things, so that when we came back from the ask, they were all there waiting. She had no idea, and it went perfectly.
Oh,
and
I was literally joke and say, "Oh, I'm sure everything went perfectly."
No, and it actually did. And her older sister Virginia was a huge help, just in prepping her.
Yeah.
Right, and it was funny because trying to get her to do her nails and to dress nice for Sunday night and pictures. Mascara and things, and she was being very stubborn. Like, "No, I don't do my nails. No, I don't need mascara and anything." So. But her sister did take pictures while it was happening, so I'll show you here real quick. She was laughing hysterically as it happened because, she didn't know what to feel.
I love how you're still on a knee.
I know, and this is like one of the best pictures, the whole thing. She just like doesn't know what to do, whatever. But anyway, so it went great. She said yes, of course, and my sister came up from South Bend as well,
nice.
Megan,
Nice.
to hang out with us that night, and then,
Was
off
she,
and running.
Was she expecting this? Or was
She was at some point because she wanted, she gets anxious sometimes about things and like just wants to have clarity on what her big life plans are.
Right.
And so early on in the relationship, we had kind of set the expectation that, okay, well, we'll kind of agree, okay, we're ready for this next step. But then from there, there's like the wiggle room for me to surprise her.
Oh, nice.
So it was only the week before I proposed or a week and a half or 2 weeks, whatever, that we had agreed, okay, we're ready. and then I had to kind of set it up that, okay, well, now I got to get the ball rolling.
She gives you the green light, and
now,
you're like, I'm on it. Let's go.
I had in essence like buttered her up to think, okay, well, this might be now in like a month out or a month and a half, whatever. It takes time, these things. And I had even that. Before going up to South Haven that weekend, I had told her, well, this could be a good time, for me to ask your dad for his permission. We'll both be there, whatever. So I was trying to make in her mind that this, weekend was the least likely possibility that it would happen. And then it did happen, and she was so surprised. So
I love it, man. That's a beautiful story. And it's definitely a beautiful time. I'll say one more quick thing and then we'll move on. But I just remember having spoken to my spiritual director, Sarah, my wife, and just saying, I don't know. I feel like it should be soon, or I don't know if it could be later. And he was like, dude, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Like, there's some
if you know, you know.
You know, and there's some special graces that come with that. And
seriously.
So I'm glad. I'm happy for you. Okay, let's go back down memory lane and revisit your 4 years here at JSerra Catholic High School.
Yeah.
Give our audience, our listeners, some context, what you got involved in, what you did here at the school.
Yeah. So I got involved with a lot of things. So my freshman year, I played baseball and basketball. I played baseball my whole life. It was like my primary sport. big Cubs fans.
Oh yeah,
Go Cubs.
Cubs.
And also was very into basketball. But there was definitely a decision I had to make my freshman year of, do I do both of those, or do I also maybe just do baseball and choir? Because my family's very musical. Both my older sisters were in choir.
Right.
I knew I eventually probably wanted to do choir, but I only did baseball, basketball my freshman year. Then sophomore year, I stopped doing baseball, and I did basketball and choir sophomore and junior year. And then senior year, I stopped playing basketball and I played soccer and finished with choir as well.
Okay.
So those were the main things. I also was in Caritas senior year and helped with, I don't know, like Link Crew. And
kind of some leadership.
Do you guys still have Link Crew?
Yeah. I think it's lead now.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't know.
So yeah, other things in the school, but
those
were the main things that I was involved with.
And was there any I know I came into the year, I think 2018, the fall. So you were a senior.
I was senior in the fall. Yeah.
So I'm not going to take this personally, but who were some people that you looked up to? Some of the mentors that guided you through JSerra?
Well, this is kind of a cheat answer, but I mean, my dad is at JSerra, but he's also my dad. So, and he's probably one of the biggest mentor in my life. So, big shout out to him. It definitely was not awkward. A lot of people ask me like, "Oh, how was it going to school and your dad is the headmaster or the president, and what is that like, and is it weird?" And for me, it wasn't. I didn't mind at all. I loved it. Just being able to go with him. And, my sister Megan when she was there, and Matt, my younger brother, when he was there, being able to go with them every day to mass in the morning.
Right.
We all go together, and then we go to school, and I'd see him around. And also, as my dad being the president, gaining more familiarity with the faculty and staff, things like that, which I really enjoyed cultivating, especially junior, senior of high school. Okay. So that was great. And then, honestly, the whole history department, solid teachers. I had Mr. Mishu freshman and senior year, and Mrs. Kennedy sophomore year, Mr. Summers junior year, and Mrs. Summers also senior year. Right. And they were all just fantastic in terms of setting a professional kind of academic tone in the classroom, and really challenging me to learn the material well, do well in my, in the tests and quizzes and grades and things like that. But then also, especially I think Mrs. Summers, just having a very good relationship with her senior year, being very fun, being able to talk to her about things beyond macroeconomics.
Sure. And that's great. That's great to have those kind of relationships that, teachers can be mentors in different areas. And that's kind of the theme of this podcast is JSerra is more than just teachers and coaches.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. How did JSerra equip you for college? I think this is a big question that a lot of our viewers have is, okay, what's going to happen when my son or daughter goes off to college, and will they be ready?
Yeah.
And you can be honest.
Yeah. So I think that I mentioned it before, but like the academic tone, you can really challenge yourself at JSerra, right, with all the AP classes and honors classes and things like that. So I took advantage of that in high school, and that really helped me with college, especially in the specific path that I took, where I graduated in 3 years at Holy Cross and then got my master's at Notre Dame in 1 year. Getting my undergrad in 3 years was immensely easy because of all those APs that I took in high school. I think I took 7 of them, so I came in freshman year with almost with a semester and a half of credits.
Wow.
And so it made graduating in 3 years very easy. So that was good. But I'd say my main answer to this question is when you throw yourself into high school and the community and doing all of these events and friendships and handling classes, and you're balancing a lot, right? And homework, and that is something, that time management is something you're gonna have to be really good at going into college, right? Because college still has some sense of a safety net, because you're not completely independent. You're a heck of a lot more independent than you are in high school.
Right.
But in high school, you're kind of getting introduced. You're given the opportunity to do all of these things, but it still is very structured, right? School day is like whatever, 8 to 2:30, 8 to 10, and then extracurriculars for 2 hours after that. And then you do homework for 2 hours, and you have dinner, and then you go to sleep, and you just do it. You do that day in and day out. But in college, it's very different, right? Where you get to choose your classes. They're on a semester schedule, right? So not a quarter schedule, and your classes change from first semester to second semester. And then, your day isn't filled from 8 to 2 or 8 to 3 with classes. It's filled, you maybe have 3 hours of classes a day or 4.5, depending on how tight. And you're not even, exactly. So you have so much more time that you have to learn to manage well. And so I think just as involved as I was at JSerra in high school, kind of helped lay the seeds, the groundwork for being able to do that better in college.
Yeah, almost effortlessly.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really good to hear. Okay, so I forgot my question.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to take a pause. Gotcha. Okay, so thinking back, JSerra, you had some teachers that you bonded with, some memorable moments. What's kind of like the most impactful moment you had? And I'm sure there's multiple, so you can name a couple.
Yeah.
But if there's like some big life lessons that JSerra gave you, what would those be?
Wow, good question.
You can think about it.
Good question. Well, I would say probably the most extraordinary memory I have at JSerra was my junior year going with the choir to Rome.
Oh, yeah.
It was the first time that I traveled outside of the U.S., so obviously that's a huge thing. Going to Rome, right, and going to Rome with like my friends.
Yeah. And
my dad chaperoned the trip, and my sister Megan was on the trip. Oh, no. So all of those conditions kind of created the perfect moments for just great memories and great experience, and then also just being able to sing, right, this beautiful choral music in these spaces that are meant to be sung in, and that are just there's absolutely nothing like it here in the U.S. Obviously, right? So that was probably one of the biggest memories. I would say also my senior year, my junior year, also doing Les Mis, the musical.
Nice.
That, and then like my senior year, I think the senior Pops concert as well.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, everything
just
kind of surrounding choir, because that was where my whole friend group was.
Yeah.
So choir helped, provide a lot of these experiences where I was just really able to share them and enjoy them immensely with all my friends. So,
okay, I love it. I'm going to throw you a little bit of a curveball here, which should be actually more of a softball. You're a faith-based man. JSerra is a faith-based school. Yeah. How did JSerra kind of foster that spiritual life for you?
Yeah. Great question. So first thing is the daily mass in the morning. It was easy for me because my dad would go every morning, and he was my ride to school. So
give you a little crap.
Exactly. So he did a very good job of respecting my freedom, and I think which is a hard thing, but a very important thing for parents to do. But yeah, it was just like I was there, and I wanted to go, and that's what's so you have to take your faith as you have to make it your own, right? You can't be forced to do anything. So that was the biggest thing, I think, just in terms of making that just part of my routine, my expected routine. That I'm gonna go to mass every day, and it just became so regular, right? So that was the important thing, the first important thing. I think second, academically, like the theology classes particularly, Mr. T's social justice class, where we explored a lot of kind of hot button social topics, and which, when you're in Orange County or JSerra, the way I was just kind of in a bubble, you're not very much exposed to a lot of different viewpoints. And even in college, honestly, I still wasn't as much. But just being able to equip myself with the necessary information about abortion, same-sex issues, euthanasia, all these things that you just, if you get into that position, right, you have to be able to defend yourself, because we're walking Christ in essence, right? We're like the symbols for the Catholic faith.
Yeah.
And so we don't want to give our faith a bad rep.
And we even see that in Peter's letters, right? Be ready and prepared. Right?
To be able to explain the faith that you have.
Yeah. So that's good. Yeah. So, right, you kind of foster that spiritual interior life through prayer and mass, and then it seems like you're also getting the intellectual side in class.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, well, as we wrap things up, I love this question, right? So you've got a sea of students in front of you. The whole school's right in front of you. What are you going to tell them? What's kind of like some advice that you can give them now that you are where you are today and kind of look back? What can you give these kids?
Yeah. Two things. One, I'd say you have to live your life with integrity. I was thinking about this as you sent me these questions, and I was thinking about kind of what are some of the biggest values that JSerra helps instill. I think, you have to live your life with integrity with others, but also with yourself. And you have to always you have to be exterior, facing and say, okay, how am I interacting with my friends and with my family and with my teachers and things like that? And am I being honest with them? But you also, part of what prayer is just thinking about, okay, how can I grow? What are areas in which I can improve? Whether that's like I can pray more, right? Or I can develop my interior life more and my relationship with God more, or I can be a better friend in this area, or I can be a better student in this area. And that just doesn't happen if you don't have that interior reflection and honesty with yourself. And you can't be content with where you are, right? It's like the motto, Siempre Adelante. We always have to be moving forward and growing and challenging ourselves to become the best versions of ourselves. Right.
And that even has to help. If there's anybody looking back at my 6 years here, I don't think I know a better friend group than yours.
Yeah.
Right?
So that was what I was going to say is friends.
Yeah.
Make friends. And I realized that, I was given just like the greatest friend group in high school.
Right.
And we still keep in touch on a regular basis. John Cariotti just got married in the beginning of August. And when I think back to high school, that's the main thing. It's just the friendships that I made. The four of us, Nino, Voltaggio, Connor Presley, Pat Simon, John Cariotti, and we just did everything together. Now, Nino was in choir, but the rest of us were in choir, so we had all those experiences, and we would hang out all the time. And we had the opportunity in high school to really develop and cultivate those deep-rooted friendships, and those were able to carry on beyond high school, right? And so you're able to share these great moments in high school with other people, which just makes those memories so much better because you can look back on them and reminisce and that was so much fun and this was great.
Iron sharpens iron.
Exactly.
Right?
So that's the other thing too, is that these are people who I trust with my life and I know that I can always go to. And so when you have those people and that support to fall back on, and that, okay, I'm struggling with this, or I have some problem with this, and if I need advice, and maybe I don't want to talk to my parents about it right now, or I just want to hear honest opinion from my friends. Yeah. It's like I know that they were always there, so they were definitely crucial just in my own formation and becoming a better man, a better friend.
I love it.
So.
Yeah, that's beautiful. G.K. Chesterton says, friendship is the greatest gift to man. So it definitely is something where we can just share experiences and push each other to be better. Rich, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah,
it's always
this was great.
It's a special gift to have our alumni here, sharing with our viewers what life was like here at the school. And be assured I'll be praying for you, brother.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Russ.